Hello friends, welcome back to my channel Learn and Grow with Mahesh. So today I'm going to uh, present react2Shell vulnerability CVE 2025-55182, which is recently disclosed on 3rd December 2025. So today I'm going to show how that vulnerability affects the system across the globe, and I will give you demo how we can exploit that one. So before we begin, I just want to mention that I have been preparing this video content from last 1 week, and today finally I got time to sit down and record this video for all of you. I really hope you will find this useful. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel, and please comment, uh, so I can improve. So your feedback is valuable for me, so it will improve, motivates me to create such kind of content in future. In today's video, as I mentioned, I'm going to talk about react2Shell, recently disclosed vulnerability. Whatever I using scripts, tools, those I will provide you links in the video description. So please make sure you check out, and you can try to replicate this one in your lab environment. So let's start, guys. Today's video. So what we will cover, I will try to cover uh, how this this CV is severe, what is severe impact, CV impact, how we can detect. That's the main important thing. I will explain you how to detect using some scripts available on GitHub. So how to detect it, and we can use some native tools, like the very basic tool is nmap. Also I can show you that also. Then we will do some exploitation. So after detection this vulnerability present on your system, I will demonstrate how that vulnerability can be exploited. Then after exploitation, we will talk about mitigation plan also, how to mitigate it, how we can patch it so attacker cannot exploit that vulnerability. And then we will talk about some lesson learned like verification and monitoring, continuous monitoring, I would say, and then lesson learned. So this is a brief agenda, how what I'm going to cover. So let's talk about this vulnerability. It's like a critical vulnerability. And why it's critical? Because this CVE uh, can be exploited using unauthenticated manner. So it's a unauthenticated React exploits affects millions of sites. So as I mentioned, this is disclosed on December 3rd, 2025, and not basically this vulnerability leads remote code execution, so RCE, because of the vulnerable component. So when you talk about this, CVE, I try to correlate with the OWASP top 10. So recently we got OWASP 2025 survey, and we have already 2021 survey. So if you talk about where I should map this vulnerability, I I'm personally, I believe this vulnerability comes under A06-2021, which is vulnerable and outdated component. Maybe you can always, whenever you got vulnerability, try to map with the OWASP. It's a, gives you better idea. So I try to map with the vulnerable and outdated component. And we have, if it is a vulnerable and outdated component, definitely the remediation on mitigation is patch that particular component from the authorized vendor, whatever patch provided. What is it? CVE 2025-55182. So we call this as a react2Shell. Is a pre-authenticated remote code execution vulnerability in React server component. So this vulnerability present in React server component RSC. Many frameworks built on React, example, next.js. What is the root cause? Root cause, the unsafe deserialization of HTTP request payload passed via the RSC flight protocol when processing server function endpoints. Attack vector. Attacker sends specially crafted HTTP request, and which request, that particular request, no authentication is needed. So I will show you using Burp Suite how this HTTP request can be formed, and we will get, we can perform this remote code execution. So I will demonstrate using Burp Suite. Let's talk about this CVE further. So I already mentioned react2Shell is a critical server-side vulnerability, and this vulnerability, initially also you can see the related vulnerability is CVE 2025-66478, was initially published for next.js and marked as critical. It was later rejected and classified as a duplicate of this 182 because the root causes lies in next.js depending on vulnerable React packages that implement the flight protocol. So if you talk about these two CVE, this is rejected, 78 is rejected and merged with this 182. Why? Because the root cause for this both vulnerability is the same, which is RSC flight protocol implementation that basically leads to deserialization, and we are ingesting HTTP payload. So because of this, these two vulnerability merge into the single one. So that's why we are titling this video is CVE 55182. Okay, and we call this as a react2Shell. So which React and Next.js versions are vulnerable or affected? So you should know this, guys. Why? Because if you are using React in your environment, then you have to understand what different packages are affected. So you can see React Server DOM parcel version 19.0, 19.1.0, 19.1.1, 19.2.0, those are affected version. So if you're having this DOM parcel, then please check the version. So you can check with the application application security and vulnerability management team. You can check, they can scan it, or maybe you can contact application owner and you can check this. But it's important to identify whether you are affected. That's the first step. And if you are affected, then you have to go to the next plan. So these three packages are impacted: React Server DOM parcel, React Server DOM Turbo Pack, React Server DOM Webpack. Okay, and these are the affected version. So if you are having these versions, guys, please perform the next remediation or mitigation plan, patch it. So why this is severe? Because CVE score for this is 10, which is critical one. And because of this, it leads to full compromise, data theft, server takeover, lateral movement. And this is very severe. Why? Because it affects the default deployment. No special misconfiguration needed. So if you are having the React component or server, you are basically affected. Why this vulnerability stand out in the market? So first point is unauthenticated remote code execution. There is no need of authentication. So you can easily exploit this particular vulnerability without, logging it. So, and because of that, this is more, severe. Affects the default install. So as I mentioned, if you have this server, React server component, you are by default, vulnerable. So there is no special configuration needed or misconfiguration needed. Widespread use, as you see, React is used across the globe, by different organization. That's the widespread use of this one. Because of this, this severity of this vulnerability is high. Active exploitation. So if you read about this vulnerability, so some Chinese, the hackers already started exploitation, on AWS, where this component deployed. So that's why, we have to, patch this vulnerability as early as possible. And high potential for large scale exploitation. So these are a couple of points why this vulnerability is standing out. And again, if you recall, log4j vulnerability with this one, log4j, definitely it's a massive scale. For this one, I would say we are impacted, but not like a log4j, because some people are talking about whether this vulnerability is similar kind of log4j. So I would say it's also severe, but the impact of log4j is more than this. Okay, so if you are comparing with the log4j, that you have to understand. Then, what immediate actions for React or Next.js. So these are suggested by the React and Next.js team. So what they recommended, if you have this vulnerable version, then definitely you have to patch immediately. So first check whether you are affected, run HackerOne spot check. I can show you how to check whether you are affected, your servers are affected by this vulnerability. I will show that. That's a detect phase. After detect phase, I will show you a exploitation phase also. And if you are you can exploit it. And if you are having this vulnerability, I will suggest go for patch, go for remediation. So remediate by using the patch. So you can see we do have this latest patches provided by the React team. So please do that, install, okay, upgrade with that. Audit your architecture. If you are having large organization, definitely you have to reassess your front end, back end interactions, and use the serialized payload. Don't use deserialized payload. That's again, the lesson learned from this attack. Conduct an incident response investigation. If you are having this kind of vulnerable component, definitely I would suggest involve your IR team and please check using logs whether you are basically affected because of this vulnerability, whether attacker try to penetrate your network. Please check that one. How you are going to check that? Please check your suspicious post request to the RAC endpoint. So you know how many component having this React server, you know the IP address of that server, and you can check post request toward that server. So I give a hint, and basically you can check accordingly logs of your WAF, the proxy and whatnot. Network traffic you can monitor, and you can check in the historical logs. So active monitoring is important, as well as the historical correlation is also important. That's why I mentioned involve IR team to investigate further. Audit your project, review all internal and public facing web applications for usage of React server component, next.js. Even older or small templates might be affected, so please check those kind of stuff. I don't know how you are going to scan it, whether you have the dynamics code scanning the tools, but I recommend please do that one. Next one, redeploy and clear cache. So if you are uh, after upgrade of these dependencies, rebuild and redeploy applications. Don't just rely on version bump. Ensure no old code or built artifacts. So please redeploy and clear your cache. Okay. So after this, I'm going to give you real demo. But before real demo, I want to show you. We'll talk about the CVE. So normally you can see NVIDIA database. So you can see this. This link I already provided CVE, so you can read about the CVE. Okay. Severity score is 10. Severity critical. Okay. And you can find out the affected version and whatnot. So I provided this link. You can go through this, link one. So you can see in the National Vulnerability Database or CVE, you can search about this CVE and you can read about more. Okay. So let's start. Before start a real demo, what I'm using Kali. From Kali, I'm trying to launch this particular attack. Also, I'm using Burp Suite and some scripts available on GitHub. And I forgot to mention which platform I'm using to demonstrate. So platform which providing, me the affected system or a vulnerable system, which is Thundercipher platform. So I'm using Thundercipher platform. So let's dive deep this into this one. So 1 minute. So what? So as I mentioned, I'm using Kali, Burp Suite, some scripts available from GitHub and Thundercipher platform. So how we are starting? So as if you refer my previous video, I'm using Thundercipher platform, which is our platform, and I'm contributor to that platform. So what we have to do is we have to create account if you don't have, log into the Thundercipher platform, go to the lab section, and you have to start this CVE 2025-55182 lab. Then you will get IP address. After getting that IP address, you have to connect using VPN. I will show you the steps and then we will start, So first in demonstration, I will show you detect phase, detection, exploitation, mitigation. Mitigation, I think we already covered in slide 10, but I will recall again. But let's start with the detect phase, okay? So before starting with the detect phase, we have to perform this, few steps, which is log in to the Thundercipher and start the lab. So let's do that, guys. I already logged in to my account, press 0, and I will go to the lab section, guys. If you are logged in, then you will get lab section. We have the CVE 2025. I will launch. So this lab is basically, providing some challenge, but I'm going to explain this vulnerability, how to exploit, and also to solve this lab challenge, what they mention is, they mention once exploited, you can find the flag in root flag.txt. So after exploitation and everything, what we can do is we will check the flag under root flag.txt and we will paste this flag here and we can submit. Okay. And that's, I would say, a objective of this lab, but our objective is to understand this, how to exploit this vulnerability, how to perform remote code execution, and then we can put the flag, what they mentioned, the task under this lab. So let's start this lab, guys. Right now, this lab is not started. So I click on the start button, machine creation started, and then we will get the IP address. So you can see we got the IP address. So that's, I think, first step from our slides. Log into the platform and start the lab, get the IP address, then connect VPN. So I do have already Kali running. So I can show you how to start VPN. So I will minimize this. I already started VPN, but I will close this VPN because VPN is required to connect to this IP address. So I started VPN. I will connect to this box from the MOBA and the IP address is 192.168.5.235. So let me ping whether it's reachable. So I will log into the Kali box and I will try to ping this IP address. Let me zoom this little bit so it's better to visualize. So I'm zooming a little bit so you can visualize properly. I hope you can see this better. So the IP address is 235, so I am pinging. So you can see now this IP address is reachable. If you are not connected to the VPN, you will not get a response. So we are connected to this IP address. Then what I will do is I will try to use Nmap scan for this IP. And why I'm doing this one? I'm doing aggressive scan. Why I'm doing Nmap scan? Because I want to check which ports are open. And if you read uh, this vulnerability affects this React component. And normally this particular component uses port number 3000, 3000. So if while installation, if this default port got changed, then maybe we will get another port number. But normally if uh, normally users are using the same port numbers, I would say default port numbers for installation, and they will keep running service on default port. So you can see we scan this and you can see 3000 port is open. And as I mentioned you, this 3000 port, you can see here, next.js component is there. And that's the first check. So if you are affected, by this particular vulnerability. Maybe especially you can, check 3000 port or used by your infrastructure. That you can do it. But if default installation is not followed, then might be port number might be different. But I'm this Thundercipher lab using default installation, so we have 3000 port. So I can show you. So maybe I can, if I can copy this 235 IP address, if I go my Kali Linux, if I go my browser, and instead of 232, if I use the 235 and 3000, so you can see it shows React to server component and vulnerable stack. So you can see read about this. So this is over there, and you will see this vulnerability present in this particular server. So I hope So first step we did is based on our presentation. We did Nmap scanning, and we found 3000 port is open, and which is basically used by this vulnerable component of React. So Nmap we done. Then I'm going to explain you one script which we already having. I provided link in the video description. So you can see there is one project, react2Shell scanner. The scanner is basically scanner.py file. What the scanner, you can read out the code if you're, and read the notes and everything. So basically what it does is it basically scan your server, and it shows whether that particular, vulnerability present on. So it's a detection phase. So that's, I would say, we are doing. So Nmap, we got 3000 port, which is open, used by the React component. Then we are using script. So let me show you how that script works. So I hope if you don't know how to download, so just open this scanner, go to the raw version, copy this path, okay, and go to your Kali box. So we are in Kali box, and I'm going to create you know just a directory mkdir CVE react shell. So you can see I am in home Kali CVE react2Shell, and now I will use wget to download that particular scanner file, which is scanner.py file. Now see the file is downloaded, and now I'm using command Python, and we have to provide the server IP address, which is 235. So you can see it's showing vulnerable component. So the vulnerability is present, vulnerable, SSL verification disabled. Okay, so we have some vulnerability, on 3000 port. So that's the one thing, you can use scanner.py file, you can download. Another way to check it, we do have another multiple ways to detect. So there is one project, Nuclei. Okay, I already mentioned all the, whatever demonstrated in this video, present the links in the video description. So please check out Nuclei project. So if you don't have Nuclei, please install that one by using apt-get. Install Nuclei, and then after Nuclei installation, what Nuclei does is you can read out here. So Nuclei is basically is a modern high-performance vulnerability scanner that leverage simple YAML-based templates. It empowers you to design custom vulnerability detection scenario that mimic real-world conditions, leading to zero false positives. So what you understood? So Nuclei is the tool where we are providing YAML-based configuration. So we do have Nuclei installed on our Kali. If you don't have, please install using apt-get. So install Nuclei, and after that, I already provide this YAML file. Just copy this YAML file, okay? Copy this and create. So I already have this YAML file. So I will show you how to use it. So I already provided link to this YAML file also. So I will demonstrate how this YAML file or nuclei is used. So what I will do is I will go to one step directory back. I already have a directory cd CVE, and under that I do have react2Shell scanner. And you can see here, I already have scanner, for nuclei, we do have YAML file. So you can see we do have this YAML file. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I will use nuclei, and instead of this 147, I have to use 235, which is our IP address. So we are passing this YAML file to the nuclei and this YAML file. So you can see this YAML file gives you, so basically provided to identify the signature of this CV, and you can see we found CVE-2025-55182 on this server. I hope you understood how to use a nuclei. So that's the PVD, the first step, which is detect. You can use Nmap, scripts, nuclei, or you can use your, maybe inbuilt or your organization having different vulnerability scanners, so you can use that one. But this is the simplest one, as a student, you can use this nuclei, the available script on GitHub or Nmap. So that's the first step to detect. Now, after detection, we have to understand, as I mentioned, this vulnerability, you know, we can exploit using basically RC, remote code execution. So how we can do that? And that's the second step. After detect, we can understand exploit, and then we will understand how to mitigate it. Okay, so let's start exploitation. So again, I'm using my Kali terminal, and for this time, I'm using another script provided by this good, researcher Jack and CV advanced scanner. So he created one scanner which is scanner.sh. So guys, we will use the same approach. What we will do is we will open this scanner.sh, go to the raw version, copy the path. So basically copying this path is important because you need to download. Okay, so go to your Kali, and I will download this using wget. So we have the link. I downloaded that sh. The file is downloaded. So I downloaded file scanner.sh is here. Okay. So I'm just changing the mode, and you can check now. I can execute the scanner.sh file. So let's execute scanner.sh. Don't go for this one. Let's start with cat etc shadow, and our server is 235. So what we are doing is we are doing remote code execution. Right now we are doing command injection, but you can provide the code, script, whatnot. So just I'm providing, so this is our server where the vulnerable component present, and I'm passing command cat.etc. And you can see we are getting etc. So this command executed. So see, target host is this. We executed etc shadow, command executed, and we got the response. Let's do for the etc pass WD. See, we can execute every command from here. Whom I root, you can execute any command. Okay, so I hope you understood, this is command injection, so this is the scanner.sh. Use this wisely, guys. Use in control environment, don't use in production, don't use in your company environment, unless and until you take permissions. Now, this is, already, available scripts that you can use for exploitation. But I'm going to show you how to exploit this using Burp Suite. So I will provide these links to you guys because I use these links to understand how this exploitation works and everything. So I will directly demonstrate. So for demonstration, I have to start my Burp Suite. So I will do that. So I'm demonstrating in Burp Suite. And to do that, we have to change some proxy settings in our browser. So I'm doing that also. Settings, proxy, and here we are. And why I'm setting this 127.0.0.1 8080, I will show you. So I'm using loopback address and 8080. I will show you why I'm using this one. Settings only. If you go to the Burp Suite, so now I'm intercepting each and every request. Okay. So if I go to Burp Suite, and if I go to the settings, proxy settings, you can see why I use loopback and 8080 port, because whatever request I'm sending now, it will intercept by this Burp Suite. So Burp Suite will intercept the communication and we can modify, if required. So now I will start the interception. Interception is on, and I will go to the browser, and I will try to use HTTP 192.168. So our server, which is 235, you can see the request is captured here. So I just want to show you a couple of things. So I will send this to repeater one time, two time, three time. I will go to repeater. So you can see we have one, two, three. And why I'm showing this one? Because I just want to show you how it works. Okay. So now repeater, we send three requests. So our server is here. So let's see what we will get if I hit like this only. So nothing concrete we got. So what I will do is I will just change method from get to post. So just right click and change request method, post. Let's see what we will get. So we got HTTP 200 code. Okay, we can see vulnerable RAC POC. Okay, operator vulnerability, whatnot. Okay, now we change method from get to post. Now I will change this payload. Based on the so we already did some analysis how this payload ingested and everything. So I'm directly using that payload which is I crafted. So if you want this payload and everything, please refer this, the links I provided in the video description, and you will get those kind of payload, guys. So it's like I'm providing everything what I used in this video. So I'm going to Burp Suite again, and I'm just sending one command to check whether that command returns something, which is I'm passing ID command. Okay, I'm trying to execute the command, and you can see here it hits and we got outcome. So ID command outcome we got here. If I change this to something else, let's see, VMI, we got root. Okay. If I type here who instead of VMI, pass print the working directory, you can see now you are present in root CVE 2025 something. Okay. So you can see you can pass anything from here. I want to do ls, showing everything. So we can perform anything from here. Let me change the payload instead of ID. I will pass whether I can, execute, any further, like, I want to see the cat pass WD. Let's see if we can do that. So I will go to the another repeater window, which is second one. And here I will change. And remember, change the gate to the post. And if I send it, and now my interest is I want to watch etc pass WD contents. And see, we got etc pass WD. The content. Okay, so that means we are successfully, doing command injection. We are getting data. So if we are looking, anything, not only etc pass WD, we can go for etc shard also. I can show you that in third window. If I go here, you can see I want etc shadow contents send, and we are getting those contents. So guys, if we can getting those content, we can do anything. We can do defense evasion, we can do the damage to the system, we can take control of the system, we can do anything. So I hope you understood how this CV is severe, right? Now let's go to the presentation, because our exploitation part is finished using Burp suite also. Now we have to mitigate. So I will refer again slide number 10, which I already mentioned. We have to patch immediately. We have to assess the situation. We have to contact IR team, whether to monitor continuously, and also historical, whether we got affected like that. Apart from that, we will have some lesson learned. So before lesson learned, you can see I provided all references. If you are confused with all references, let's just focus on IMP links, and I will provide all this. I already provided this all links in the video description. So these are the important links. What we learn from this? So we learn we have to track vulnerabilities proactively. If we are affected, we have to assess the impact, and then we have to plan patching and update immediately. To avoid the damage, always use best principle, which is least privilege principle. So even if we are vulnerable to this particular attack, we will get less damage. So always use least privilege principle. As you see, there is a decentralization and there's no proper input validation. So I will recommend, if you are developing something APIs, try to use the input validation and standardization carefully. Otherwise, we are basically providing some room for attacker to enter in our environment. Secure configuration is important. Then continuous security testing. If you are writing code or API, testing is important in all aspects. If you talk about operating system, you have to do hardening. And very important point from the blue teaming, or basically security monitoring, logging and monitoring. So we have to monitor our all infrastructure critical assets continuously for any attack patterns. And if you are patching and updating, apply vendor specific mitigation. Don't download any patch from another particular website. It might be you will patch it, but again you will create backdoor for other activities. So always apply vendor specific mitigation patch. What is disclaimer of this video? So use this particular steps in isolated controlled environment for learning and experiment purpose. Do not use this script or application in production environment. If do not use this application to target or attack systems without explicit authorization or permissions from the authorized party. Unauthorized access to computer system is illegal and may lead to criminal prosecution. So guys, please, use, whenever you're doing it hacking, please do wisely. If you like this video, please join my channel, Learn and Grow with Mahesh. I'm going to, create more and more videos in future. So if you like this video, please join this channel. So I hope, you, I would say, learn few things. Then last step is still missing, which I think we have to do together, which is basically Thundercipher lab challenge. So this lab provides this vulnerability CVE 2025-55182, but challenge given is we have to find the root flag. So let's do that one. So we can do that in two ways. First one is command line, or we can do in using Burp suite. So I will do the command line. Let's see. So what I'm going to use is I'm going to use my scanner.sh file. So same scanner.sh. And here we have to use cat etc. So not etc, sorry, root flag.txt. And you can see, and from where I'm getting this path, from the path we got here, root flag.txt. So I'm capturing this, copied, and then I will paste in the lab challenge. This is the lab challenge specifically. Submit. And you can see the this room successfully rooted, and you can download your certificate, which is basically to you can show to the community that you solved this challenge. You can post on LinkedIn. This is a pride movement, so the date is 23rd of December. Trace root the username, and the lab name is CVE 2025-55182. So this is the lab challenge we solved. But apart from this command line, I want to show you we will get the same flag using the Burp suite. So let's go to the Burp suite. And Burp suite, I will go to my ID command, or maybe just use the instead of cat swd or ID. I'm just here using cat etc, not etc, root flag.txt. I'm sending, and you can see here we got the flag. Okay, so you can use command line or you can use Burp suite. So I prefer to show you both, because command line, I'm not the developer of that particular script, but with this Burp suite, you can see the better, how this, the exploit is written and everything. Okay, so if you want to explore more, you can read the code, how that scanner.sh is written by the researcher. Okay, so I hope you like this one, and let's go to the presentation. So I hope you guys like this react2Shell, exploitation, and that brings us end of this video. Until next time, keep learning, keep experimenting, and always hack responsibly. This is Mahesh Pavaskar signing off. See you in next video, guys. Thank you.